The GMTK Game Jam, the biggest game jam on itch.io, was held this weekend. And what do you expect? Of course I participated in it. My first ever game jam was last year's GMTK Jam, so I was really hyped for this one. 1 hour before the theme announcement, I started to prepare the Unity project. I set up the splash screen, created a few scripts, and I added the necessary packages which I was going to use. It was 8 PM. Everybody waited for the theme to be revealed, which was Joined Together. After the theme was announced, I started to think on what game should I make for this theme. And after 30 minutes of thinking, I came up with an idea. My idea was very similar to my other game jam game, Rewind It. For those of you new to the channel, you should click the subscribe button below the video. But also, Rewind It is a block sliding puzzle game which I made for last summer's Brackets Jam. The basic concept will be the same. You slide blocks around and try to slide them to the specified place. But this basic concept wouldn't create the most interesting game. So here comes the theme into place. My idea was that you have two different types of blocks that you can move, and they stick to each other, but only if they are different colored. The same colored blocks don't. Kinda like magnets. I also added a few other mechanics, like the blocks stick together while moving, or you can disconnect the stuck blocks if part of them are blocked and cannot be moved. I was done with planning everything, so I started to program the gameplay. Shortly after that I went to sleep because it was quite late. The next morning I continued to work on the game mechanics, and around 33 hours before the deadline I had a working demo for my game. After I was done with the basic gameplay mechanics and added a way to complete the levels, I started to work on the visuals. I searched a few color palettes, but eventually settled on this one. It had every color that I needed. Red and blue for the blocks, green for the goal, black for the barriers, and white for the background. The color palette really helped to give the game a really pleasing look. After another few hours, I was done with the tutorial, and you could now progress to the next level after completing one. Now it was time to work on the UI. I added an outline to the level complete and clicked to continue text, so they were visible no matter what was in the background. I also added two buttons, one to exit to the main menu and one to restart the level. As there was no main menu to exit to, I started to work on the main menu. It was just two screens, a title screen and a level selector screen. It took me some time to get the level selector working, but I quickly figured it out. While working on the main menu, I also spiced up the visuals a bit. I added lights and shadows and particles to the background. At this point the game couldn't look better. Maybe if it was 3D, but this was close enough. At this point it was already Sunday at 1 AM, so I went to sleep to prepare for the last 12 hours. At this point the game could have been released as it was, but it needed some levels, so I spent half of my remaining time making 30 levels in total. Level 30 managed to be so hard that even for me, the designer of the level, took more than 10 minutes to complete when I was testing. During the level designing, I also asked around if they had any name suggestions for the game, and one of my friends came up with a really good name: Blockbound. The deadline was getting closer and closer, so as I know Unity, I started to build the project 4 hours before the jam ended, and I'm really glad I did that because I basically couldn't enter a level in the build version. It took me a few tries before I managed to fix the problem, but it was done. So I started exporting and building the game for every platform: Windows, Linux, Mac, and even Android. I wanted to make a WebGL version too, but it just wouldn't load the game, so I skipped that version because I didn't have time to mess with it. I set up the itch page, wrote a description, added some screenshots, and finally submitted the game. It's now the other day, 14 hours pressed from the deadline, and the comments on my game are really positive. I'm hoping for the best with this game. Thank you for watching the video. If you liked it, consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel. And also, if you want to try the game out, or even rate it, there's a link to the game in the video description. Bye!